Well, yesterday was Sylvia Plath's birthday, October 27th, and today is the eclipse, October 28th. It's a huge eclipse for pretty much everybody in the world. And I had some thoughts last night. I tend to have kind of unusual takes on things, and I'm not very popular in my opinions for some reason, but I just want to talk about Sylvia Plath a bit. When Sylvia, I was born in 1961, and Sylvia killed herself in 1963. So when I was in college, when I discovered her as, a young woman, just her words just rang so true, and I even thought I could be her reincarnated. The math didn't work out, but she really spoke to me, and her words were my words, and her words were a lot of women's words. And of course, she was a genius. She was very upset with the rules and regulations and the unfairness of being a woman, and wrote about that with a rage about it. And a lot of women can relate. What I know, I believe in reincarnation, and that I feel so close to the one that was Sylvia. The life before they were Sylvia, I knew them, and they were a man in the Russian Revolution, and I was married to them. And we did a lot of different things. It was sort of a gang working for the revolution. And in the end, they ended up being part of the group that killed the Romanovs. And it got very dark. There was a lot of depression. I ended up killing myself. And I remember with my husband, we would put our heads under the covers and we would play pretend that we were going to get out of St. Petersburg. We were going to get away from the ugliness of the war and the revolution and go somewhere. And they weren't well after I killed myself. They weren't well before that either. But anyway, then they incarnated as Sylvia Plath, and she had a lot of darkness in her, karmically, of things that she had seen of violence and death, and wrote about that and wrote about those themes. And I ran into them again in this life. I'd been looking for them because I feel so close to them. And I found them on YouTube as a friend who came forward on one of my videos, but they, in this life, they're a man. They're not quite put back together. And that's what I wanted to talk about, that sometimes if there is mental illness or instability, sometimes it can start to take over. And of course, in the case of Sylvia, ultimately it did kill her depression, but she was a genius, and she managed her moments of channeling and lucidity and operating at a very high level in the 3D world. What happens when a person is overwhelmed with thoughts, with channelings, with ideas and feelings and memories, and they have a hard time knowing how to put that in the 3D world, and then they become lost to the illness. And this is, I'm trying to find them again. I'm trying to find my friend again, and I hope that they can become well enough to talk to me.